Hello, it's Ren Presents time. I'm your host, Ren, and today we continue with the Hazards of the Old Ones, Part 1, Chapter 3, Visit from the Imp. So last time, the Duke of Olin captured a black hat and placed her in his dungeon with the hopes that being a dashing, handsome fellow from the marshlands of Esther would be able to break the nefarious clutch around the black hat, the Black Abbess's clutch, which conventional dogma had dictated for thousands of years that a black hat could not be turned or brought out into the light, as they say. But the Duke had heard this northern guy had managed to free a black hat. He actually freed 3 black hats. I said twice earlier, and it's kind of correct, but it's actually 3. And black hats were becoming quite popular in the league. Not the unturned ones, not the mean ones, the ones who will kill you, the turned ones who are charming and intelligent and incredibly powerful and have these crazy little marks around their right eye. That's became the whole rage across the league, such that non-black hat ladies started painting marks around their eyes just to keep up. The league is very trendy and fashionable. But the black hat will not turn. The black hat is shackled in his dungeon because she's trying to kill him for capturing her. And she, even if he hadn't captured her and if he was in her presence, she would try to kill him anyways. Remember, people, this is not an innocent waif off the street with a basket full of apples. This is a black hat murderess who knows how many people she has slain in her long life, and did it with a smile. The Duke, after his wife, his 10th wife, Josephine of Jest, had taken up arms against him, found he was enthralled by the prospect of a powerful lady who can do real harm upon his person, and there's nobody who can do harm upon you better than a black hat. Of course, enchaining someone in your dungeon is not really a cool thing to do. Of course, the Duke is a pirate and a scalawag and he's missing a lot of social graces, but still, if the black hat had reasonably spoken to him and said, "I would like to be freed," I'm pretty sure the Duke would have freed her. If she didn't want anything to do with him, he would have taken her wherever she wanted to go. But he finds himself fascinated with this black hat. He's falling for her. She's very pretty, long black hair, lovely blue eyes, and cursing like a sailor, injuring herself in her shackles, breaking her arms, her legs, as she tries to escape and dispatch this crazy guy for daring to capture her. And she's not doing well, and she's not turning no matter what the Duke tries, no matter what books his Ruthven servants read. Sage of Ruthven is a would-be bookworm and know-it-all, but he's not finding anything. He keeps telling the Duke this can't be done, but obviously it can be done because it has been done. But the Duke is not doing it right. And so, Chapter 3, Visit from the Imp. We will resolve this situation one way or the other and then continue on with the story. So, let's proceed immediately. Part 1, Chapter 3, Visit from the Imp. The Duke sat alone in his study, his hat and duster thrown over the arm of a fine Hoban chair, along with his usual arsenal of personal weapons, his black sap scarf, his trusty Fenister whip, a leather brace with 5 red haws locked in place, his black gold-capped bazoo stick, and his pistols, a small high-powered Grenville 40, and a buzzing Herkimer A9 pulse gun. Behind, a huge picture of his father, Duke Ursul, loomed over the fireplace. He looked at his late father for a moment, at the big, unsatisfied face that towered over him, and opened a nearby drawer. He got out a silver medallion and looked at it for a moment. "Press the medallion," Lord Milton had told him, whispering in his ear, "and the imp will come. The imp will help you," he had said. Came a muffled cry from far below. The Duke was all alone in his manor. There were servants rolling around here and there, but nevertheless, the Duke was alone. His friends, the Ruthvens, were gone. He had heard a secret cargo of good cane and grain spirits was en route to Hoban. The cargo, hushed in secrecy, was unmarked and unguarded in order to avoid massive duty payments that were otherwise required. Cane and grain spirits will fetch a healthy price in Zaffin space, where the spirit was highly prized. Though he thought better of it, he bade the Ruthvens, John, Peter, and Sage, to go and secure the cargo. There, smiling with a laugh and a wink, they will board the cargo ship and be off with it. The crew of the ship red-faced, but otherwise unhurt. The medallion glinted in the soft light of the study. "The imp will come," Lord Milton had said. Sage would never approve. "An imp? Come on," he'd surely say. "The imp will tear his soul apart."
"Release me at once, do you hear? Do you hear? God damn it!"
came the screaming voice from below. The Duke was worried. The Black Hat was in a slow process of dying. The injuries she had racked up were mounting by the day. 3 broken bones in her left arm and 4 in her right, a broken femur and a broken foot, a lacerated kidney, and a sudden bout of renal failure, along with a case of malnutrition from not eating properly. Finding a decent hospitaller to care for her injuries was difficult and expensive. What's worse, the Duke had become aware of some meddling man in a silver cloak prowling the bars, casinos, and bowling alleys, looking for a criminal. Must be an agent from the League. Time to deal with him later. Now was not the time to do so. The constant strain and struggle she put herself through was also wearing on her heart. She was pained in her manacles. She thrashed, wailed, her head on a swivel, seeing things that weren't there, like she was in a daze, in a fog that would not lift. Her complexion, previously a handsome alabaster, had faded to an unhealthy gray, just as Sage had said. She was so beautiful, that black hair, those blue eyes. He wondered what it might be like to have those blue eyes look at him with love. Her mouth that grimaced and howled obscenities. He imagined it smiling and laughing at a joke he'd told her. If only she'd stop, relax, and give herself a chance. Anything she wanted was hers. Stop fighting, stop resisting. You're killing yourself. And so the medallion and the imp it commanded. All you have to do is press it. Strange doings. The Duke had found several messages left for him in folded paper throughout the manor since the Ruthvens had left. One message read, "Kill the Black Hat," signed M. Another read, "Do not make any bargains with those you cannot trust," signed M. He found 3 notes of a similar tone that morning. They said, "Beware. Do not go to Xandar," signed M. "Xandar is cursed," signed M. "You will find nothing but death on Xandar," signed M. The notes were all signed with an M. They might be from Lord Milton, M for Milton, or they could be from Sage, who went by the call name Muskrat. They had to be from Sage. Odd advice, but prudent, as the planet Xandar was under the watch of the fleet this time of year, though Sage was probably being a little dramatic, which was unusual for him. When the Ruthvens returned, he would have to ask him all about them. Then, before he could stop himself, he pressed the medallion, as he had been told to do by Lord Milton. The medallion was small and silver. It had an embossed coat of arms of some important great house on the front side. The Duke didn't know which house it might be. He knew enough of heraldry to understand that the coat of arms was presented in a lozenge, and therefore it belonged to a woman. On the reverse was the big-eyed image of some strange creature, the face of the imp. "Touch the image," Lord Milton told him, "and it will come. It will do what you ask." "Don't do it," he heard Sage's voice in his ear. "Milton wants you dead. Your soul will be at stake."
Ah!
His soul was at stake, true enough. He pressed the medallion. He pressed it over and over again until his thumb hurt. The imp he was summoning did not appear immediately, as he thought it would. Instead, it took hours. But finally, eyes shining in the dark, the imp arrived, its body huddled up and obscured in the corner. It emerged from the shadows, and the Duke had a good look at it. He called it an imp, for lack of better terms. He really didn't know what it was. "And so, my Lord Duke, I am here at last," the imp said in a bright, clear voice. The Duke, sitting there with his pipe, tried to be brash. "Punctuality, imp, must not be much favor from whatever fire pit you come from." The Duke paused a moment. Even in his study, he could hear the female beast raging in the dungeon far below, wailing and moaning. "I come at my own good pace," it said. It lifted its silvery head and listened to the tumult below.
Die, die, I kill you dead, dead, eat your heart, die, die, die.
The imp smiled. "And I suppose that racket issuing up from below is why I am here. Yes?" "Aye," the Duke said. "Are all you imps as well informed?" The creature darkened a bit. "I do not like being called an imp. Sir, I am not an imp. If I were an imp, I would be mangling your flesh by now. Be thankful I am of a kinder cloth. If you wish to toss names about, I'm certain I could think of a few for you as well. There's quite a selection to choose from, isn't there? Raider, brigand, adulterer, cut-purse, fiend, pirate, scalawag. I think I like pirate the best. Really, I prefer scalawag. You are a scalawag, yes?" I have been called that," the Duke said. "I've been looking for a scalawag." "Have you? Well, look no further." Some sort of tablet or tome appeared next to the creature, and it wrote something into it. The tablet then vanished, and it came forward a bit and shone in the light with a silvery glow. It was less than waist high, smooth and metallic like living mercury. It was some sort of bizarre, half slug, half dog, quadrupedal animal standing on strange, bent, somewhat aquatic-looking front legs. Not being an animal lover, he didn't really know what kind of animal it might be. "My time is short. I already know what you want, but I'd like you to spell it out for me anyway, to ensure there's no confusion here today," the creature said. The Duke ran a hand through his blonde hair, opened his box, stuffed his pipe with fragrant tobacco, and lit it. "I want you to calm that damned black hat in my dungeon. We need to commence having children, and her yowling is impeding progress." "Really? Children? That black hat down there doesn't seem to like you much, sir." "She will. in time.
Kill you dead.
Well, given the standard of your previous marriages, it seems this one is off to your usual start, the creature said. The Duke puffed his pipe, unamused by the creature's attempt at humor. Can you help me, or can you not? What have you done so far to cheer your wife's sour mood? And the Duke told him. He told the creature everything, and it quietly listened, nodding every so often. The Duke found it felt good to talk about the whole thing, to get it off his chest, and the creature, whatever it was a good, comforting listener. The Duke even told it that Sage of Ruthven suspected that the Northern Lord had made up the Black Hat story and wed some dirty courtesan, which triggered a huge series of open-mouthed belly laughs from the creature. The laugh was infectious, and soon the Duke was laughing too, the first time he'd laughed in days. Just the Duke and the silvery thing sharing a moment in his study. So, the Duke finally said, "Can you help me?" The creature thought about it a moment and scratched its face with its left front appendage. "It appears you've done all you can." "Yeah, of course I can help you. But, as in all things, there's a price, dear Duke." The Duke recalled the message he'd received. "What do you wish? My soul, perhaps?" "That raggedy old thing? No, I desire something much more useful and much more immediate." The Duke sat back in his chair. Whitish-gray smoke from his pipe curled up towards the high, ornate ceiling of the study. He thought about it. This creature didn't seem foul or evil. He felt it could be trusted. "I'll give you whatever you want, but help me now. If you get me results, I'm yours." The silver creature twitched its whiskers. Its shining eyes grew large. "Excellent! Then let's proceed. We've a wife and best friend to make for you, don't we? You going to teach her to bowl?" The Duke smiled. "We do not speak of bowling." "But you do bowl, right?" "Of course. And her average shall be the envy of the whole of Esther." The creature laughed. "Well, we can't delay that, can we? Shall we, to the dungeon?" The Duke stood and put on his black triangle hat. "I didn't realize Esther wore Vith-style clothing," the creature said, noting the hat. "I fancy Vith hats." "Ah." Together they exited the study, the Duke slowly walking, the summoned creature loping along on all fours. Actually, as the Duke noted, it didn't have 4 legs. Rather, it had the 2 strange front legs, and its rear legs were nearly fused together and dragging behind. 3 legs. Odd. "Her name, Duke, once we break the darkness around her, if you can get her to willingly tell you her name, then that appears to speed the process along. I don't really know why, though." "The darkness. I believe I've heard of it." "Yeah. The Black Abyss's clutch. Woo! A shell of evil swirling around her. A darkness that will not break. It must be thrown aside, and that's what I'm here to do today. I shall break it for you, and she will calm." "Just a quick question for you, Duke. What if, once she does calm down, she wants nothing to do with you?" "Then I will understand and let her go." "What if she can't stand you?" "Then I'll take her wherever she wishes to go." The silver creature absorbed that for a moment and accepted it. "If I may offer up a bit of advice before we proceed," it said. The Duke looked at it, pulled on his pipe, and listened. "You seek a wife in all of this, a woman who will love and bear you many fine sons. This particular hat right here is at least 140 years old, yet her soul is as undeveloped as a newborn's. When we enter your dungeon, Duke, and do what needs to be done, we will be, in essence, welcoming a brand new person into the league. all of her feelings, her deepest thoughts, her wants and desires have been thrust aside, stunted, battered, deprived, hidden, and denied her for all these years are about to come flooding to the surface. It will be a remarkable thing to witness. So you wanted someone to love. You've not seen such love as a freed, reformed black cat can offer. If the fates will it, she'll stand by your side, loyal to the end. She'll love you to the sum of her days, yet she will not be your toy or your pet. She'll be your foil, your equal, terrible in her power, but endless in her devotion. She will argue with you. She will make her thoughts known. She will make you a whole person, and you will do the same for her. All of these things I just mentioned are very possible. However, love in any case is earned, not given. You must be worthy of her love. After 10 failed marriages, I should think that you'd have learned that by now. The Duke pulled on his pipe and thought. Additionally, the Lord of Blanchford, for that's the northern guy who tamed Black Hat Sigillus of Metatron, cracked the darkness hovering around her like a walnut shell, which is why I'm here, because you lack what he can do. You cannot break the Black Abbess's darkness around her. Well, certainly, I'll wager his Black Hat was nothing of the tempestuous little fiend that mine is.
Come to me, let me kiss you, dead man, let me kiss you, get down here, you bitch!
Well, on the contrary, Sigillus of Metatron was a foul, evil, unrepentant woman, every bit as vile and dangerous as the one shackled below, though admittedly not quite as noisy. The creature nosed the door open. On a more social note, Duke, the Lord of Blanchford also possesses a number of additional qualities which you appear to need to work on. Kindness, decency, wit, and basic courtesy are just a few. You might be wise to follow his example. Forget being the Duke of Olin for a bit. Forget being the swashbuckling pirate, and try being a man for a change. Perhaps you have as much to learn from her as she does from you. The Duke shrugged and held his pipe. It could be argued so. His previous apprehension had fallen away completely. This creature was not evil. He could feel it. He fancied he even liked it a little. He allowed himself to hope. Perhaps this silver beast could help him after all. A horrid scream came ominously from the bottom of the stairs. The silver creature looked up at the Duke. And remember, you, sir, will be in my debt. When the time is correct, I will come a-calling on you, and I will expect you to assist me as I wish.
Abbess, save your daughter, get me the fuck out of here!
Silence this woman and open her arms for me, the Duke said, moving down the stairs. And I am yours however you see fit. The Duke and the silver creature entered the dungeon and approached the screaming Black Hat. She spat and cursed. She opened and closed her fists, wanting to wrap them around the Duke's neck. Standing back, the Duke watched as the strange silver creature began its work. And with that, we conclude Part 1, Chapter 3, Visit from the Imp. I'm hoping, if I've done my job correctly, you know exactly who the Imp is. You should know. I'm not going to say it. You should know who the Imp is by this point in the story. The Duke was given a coin from Lord Milton, and Lord Milton's there whispering in his ear, like, summon this imp, and there's like a demon attached to this coin, and if you press it, this imp will show up, and it's a happy imp, a good imp, and it'll just do whatever you ask, and everything will be rosy and cheery. Of course, Lord Milton thought nothing of the sort. He had heard the demon that will come if you touch the back side of this weird coin that the Lord Milton had acquired, this rabid imp will come and commence to ripping his soul apart and feasting on the bloody shreds. Of course, that didn't happen. The creature was summoned. It was not evil. It was fairly pleasant, a good listener, and is able to break the Black Abbess's clutch, something the Duke could not do. That coin, well, we'll find out more about that coin later, what it does, but what it had was a coat of arms on the front, and then on the back had this little etching of a weird little animal-like face on the back, and that's the imp, the quote-unquote imp. In heraldry, if you have a coat of arms that's tipped on its side, instead of a square, it makes a diamond shape, that coat of arms belongs to a lady, a female. And we'll find out who that female is later on in the story. So, the Black Hat issue has resolved itself. If things go well, the Duke might just get what he wanted after all. Maybe. We shall see in future pages. Next chapter, Part 1, Chapter 4, Esteemed Guests. We return to Blanchfort Village and Countess Sigillis as the sisters approach the castle, and we will see what it is they want of her. Of course, you gotta remember, Sig is a Black Hat, and Black Hats and sisters are mortal enemies. So Sig is always a little apprehensive when the sisters show up. She's apprehensive when they show up announced, and this is unannounced. So we'll see how that goes. In any event, this is Ren Presents. I am your host, Ren. Peace out.